What was the moment that you knew interior design was for you? What were some of your earliest influences?
So, in all honesty, I've always been a creative. And I knew at a very young age I wanted to do something that was in the creative world. Whether it was design, I wasn't quite sure about that. And my mother's an artist and a designer herself. And so that was, I would wake up, watch her paint, create. We had a beautiful home. And the thing is, I had lost my father really young. And so but my mother always created this lovely environment for us. So those have always been like my happy first memories of always coming home to a pretty house. And she's always particular. You had to make your bed every day. You woke up and you made your bed. Like that has stayed with me till today. And so, anyways, at a very young age, I knew I wanted to study something creative, and it was some sort of an art form. And I wanted to go to Sir J.J. School of Art in Mumbai. For a while, I thought I wanted to study textile design. And the first 2 years at university were just a basic. It was called basic design, basic art. Like we studied everything: proportion, color theory, perspective drawing, still life studies. In fact, I have a couple pieces here, probably at the end of the interview. I'll show you there. I found them after several years. They were in an old portfolio of life studies I had done, like in 1993 or something, or I don't know, very old pieces. But they're like, I mean, I can understand why they made us do, because I've seen my older work, which are completely disproportionate. This is a more newer work from then. Like these are all still really old. But, anyways, so at the end of 2 years, we had to decide what did we want to specialize in: sculpture, painting, textile design, interior design, whatever we want to do, ceramics, metal work. I decided I wanted to study interior design because it really covered everything I was interested in. I could do textiles. I was working with color. And space. I really had this inherent, every home I walked into, I would redesign it spatially in my head. So I knew what I was sort of leaning towards.
That makes
And
perfect
so
sense.
interior design was a very natural fit for me because I've always maintained an art studio and I've always kept that alive. I've never let that go, but my degrees have all been in design because I
That-
feel I can bring it all together in one way. So
How neat. So you had this really robust art background. And then once you started working in the industry, what is something that you learned or that you know now that would have been really helpful to know about how the industry works when you first started working?
oof, that's such a good question. I feel like I wish I had taken some business classes. At the end of the day, I am running a business.
Right.
And as much as I don't like numbers and I don't want to be dealing with numbers, I have a payroll to make, I have bills to pay, I have rent to pay. And when I think of numbers, I'm looking at client budgets, how much fabric do we need, like that, but I'm not thinking about business. Business is such an important part of what we do. So
Yeah.
I wish I had taken business class. And it was a hard road to learn. It was not easy to run the business part of it. I think once I figured out I needed a good business manager, a good bookkeeper, but up until then, I thought I had to do everything, which is such a waste of my time. And I did not like it at all.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Hire out as soon as you can, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And then let's talk about your art background. So, as a practicing artist yourself, how do you see the relationship between fine art and interior design? And how often do your pieces make it into your clients' homes?
Ooh, even though I was born and raised in India, I've traveled extensively. And so I'm constantly inspired wherever I'm going. And I'm constantly taking all of that in. Sometimes people say less is more, but for me, I really feel like that just expands my horizon. I have lived on both coasts of the United States. I've lived on West Coast, East Coast, and I've lived in the Midwest. I went to school at University of Iowa, which go Hawks. CAA, I know we lost the championship, but now we're in like this national map. Anyway, so I feel like that exposure and world travel, be it in India, be it Europe, be it Asia, like Japan, I've been to in so many different countries, like all of that influences me. That the people, so for me, art and that process of that influence and then creating, whether it's my paintings or it's my prints, that conversation is therapeutic almost. It makes me not only a better person because I'm engaging in the world with the world in a way that's beautiful. I see light, I see art, I see how people express themselves. That informs my decisions and how I can navigate a project. Every client, every project is different. So I feel like I bring that global sensibility to our projects. So and the world is not flat. You know, people travel a whole lot. They want a sense of that aesthetic in their home. They want to bring a wonderful memory. And if I have experienced a similar memory, I can bring that. I can get that sense of feeling. So
And elaborating a little bit more on the globalization and long distance design is something I want to talk about, because you've designed for clients on the East and West Coast, all over the States, but then also overseas. What are some
yes.
of the challenges that come with working across geographies and in various cultures and long distance before we all had Zoom and we're more regular with it?
Yeah, I think sometimes when we show product on Zoom or via email, if you don't touch and feel it, you don't quite understand it. So I often will order two sets of samples, one going to the client, one coming to us. Like for a while, people like, oh, you need to do this box opening and all of that. You know, that's great, but sometimes nobody has the time for that. I rather have the company ship everything out to them ahead of time. The same CFA, or we're all looking at the same sample and the same drawing. So having the internet has definitely changed how we do business. That always helps. Like we're all looking at the same digital drawing and we have Dropbox. Everything's uploaded to that. So if their builder is looking at a detail and it's not in my time zone at that time, they still have access to it. And we are constantly updating that Dropbox. So everybody's looking at the same updates at the same time. Client, builder, subs, and I. So that
And
has really helped.
how did you develop your teams of subs in various geographic regions?
It's usually the builder who's our main go-to.
Okay.
And then we try and work with whoever they are comfortable. So that's very helpful. So
Awesome.
there's one overlooking authority in some ways, right? And they're
Yeah.
comfortable with each other, they know each other. So
And then tell me about your rug collection. How did the collaboration with L&A come to be? And do you have more plans to expand into product?
I'd love to do product design. I think we already do so much of it. I think almost every designer I know do custom design, custom work. So I feel it's very much a part of our business as a designer. But with Laundry and Arcari, I've shopped them for so many years now, and they've done so many custom pieces for us. And when one day, I think someone from their team saw a piece of art that I had done on Instagram and asked me, oh, Vani, this is your work. I said, yeah. They're like, oh, we didn't know you're an artist. I said, what are you talking about? People from your team have come to my art openings. Of course you knew you were. Oh, really? Okay, great. Would you be interested in doing a collab with us? And that's how it was, very organic. It just started like that. So our first piece was actually a painting of mine. It's called The Summer Day Walk. And if you go into the lookbook on my website, you'll see it was a photograph of a summer day on the Charles River that I then reinterpreted in my painting, and then we made it into a 9 by 12 rug.
Very
So
cool.
that whole process from like yay, 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 and then yay.
What advice would you have for a designer who wants to dip their toe into starting a product line?
Don't be afraid for no's. What you love may not be liked by everybody else. And, don't be deterred by that. Life is full of no's, and then you should be okay with it. I'm okay. Not everybody likes what I do, and I don't like everything what everybody. I can definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
But will I incorporate it in my work? Not necessarily. You know what I mean? It's okay, and it's okay for people to say no. Even clients, like I may present something, it doesn't mean that they're going to like everything I show. Often they do, which is great, but not everything we show is always passed, right? So don't be afraid. It's the same for product design. do your research, put it together, work hard, put your best foot forward. Something will come about. When I got the IFDA New England Interior Designer of the Year award last year, I had people come up to me and say, well, how did this happen? I'm like, I don't know. People wanted to nominate me, and I was thrilled with that. And I'm sure there's a lot of great talent. So I'm thrilled to be in this position and so humbled by this honor. But I've worked really hard to be where I am, and I've had a lot of no's in the process and a lot of pushback. But I love what I do and I believe in it. So then that's that.
Yeah. What is a no that you, or what's a note that you have really taken to heart that's most dramatically changed either the direction of a project or the way that you work?
Ooh, that's a great question, Courtney. You put me in the spot. Honestly, I don't take any no's too much to heart. I take the feedback. I'm like, okay, you said no to this, but why, right? Tell me why don't you like it so I better understand it. It doesn't have to be final, right? And then let me show you what else can I do, right? I'm not saying no and crying and walking away from it.
Yeah.
I'm saying no and learning from it, right?
Yeah.
It's never a final for me. I'm like, there's always ways that I can make it better
Yeah.
and apply it in a better way.
Yeah.
Negotiate with the no, understand what the no is, better yourself. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's okay.
Do you have a
Yeah.
favorite project or one that you found particularly rewarding?
Ooh, I feel like there was one project we did a few years ago, and this is a client we've done multiple projects with. And what I loved about this project and this client, they have great taste. They're super nice people. And I'm so lucky to work with such lovely people. I'm grateful for their trust and their their faith in what we bring to the table. But this client at first, I knew like they're world travelers. They're nice. They have a really nice art collection that was growing, and we were doing this big house for them. And this initial thought process that I had that I shared with them, I got some pushback. And I was like, okay, well, let me tell you where I'm coming from, right? So I explained, I don't see you to be some formulaic people, like go out to a store and buy everything in like 2 colorways. You are the kind of people, from what I understand. I mean, it took a lot of courage, but they hired me for a reason, right? So I have to be honest with them. So I said, from what I understand, you like a nicely curated, like your suit collection, like the way you present yourself, like every day. You're not going off and buying everything from one shop. So my goal to bring to your table, to your home, is to have this curated, collected look. Even though a lot of the stuff we're buying new and some antiques, but they're all somewhat kind of currently purchased, right? So, but we don't want it to look that we went and bought it within the year. And we wanted to look that we bought it over many years. That took some time. In the end, the house looks exactly what we had imagined. So it's not like the 2 color palettes. Every room has a flow to it, be it art, be it accessories, be it rugs, be it furniture, be it antiques. Even like the styling we did for the photo shoot, they wanted to keep everything. I'm like, well, you don't need everything. You still need some room on your coffee table to keep your cup, but you can definitely do a lot more. You can keep some of it. So I think that initial pushback was something. Like, it took a lot of courage for me to then push back to him and say, you know what? I know you've hired me for a reason.
Yeah. You had to negotiate. No, you had to see through kind of what they were saying and what they actually wanted and get to the truth there.
Yeah. And so then they go off on a vacation to Europe. They come back. And then he pulls out his phone and he's like, Vani, look, see the circles you were suggesting on the rug? Like, see, we saw this in Dublin and we saw that. Okay, now I know what you're talking about. It was so gratifying.
That's really cool.
It was so, I was so glad that I gave them the pushback and I gave them a reason why I was giving them the pushback, what the final vision is going to be.
Yeah.
I love that. Like, in the end, it was all okay. But for a while, I was like, is he going to fire me?
And that makes you an awesome designer. That's a risk you have to be willing to take to push the project to where it needs to be sometimes. Yeah. Do you have a dream project that you would love to see realized?
Lots of dream projects. I would love to do multiple projects where we're doing different styles for the same client, perhaps. I would love to do a hotel. We started off with small hospitality projects. We've done a couple restaurants, but I would just, do hospitality like in a different way, just bring in a global aesthetic that's interactive almost
Oh,
to
cool.
clientele, to be an experience that they'll come back with, like wanting to come back to the hotel. I definitely want to create more textiles. I want to create window treatment. I want to create trim. I just tons of stuff. I'd love to do more collabs and putting it out there in the world. Definitely like to do more product design. I'd love to do more hospitality. I just want to have people enjoy the world in a way that they haven't enjoyed it. Bring more joy.
That's a great note to end on. Vani, thank you.
Yeah.
And actually, before we go, I want to see your art.
Oh, you too? All right, let me turn this around. How do we turn this around?
Oh.
So were the prints.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see there. These were not the prints. These are the drawings.
Right. Okay.
The live drawings.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's just an illustration of an old project. But these are my prints. I don't know. How do I show them to there? Much better.
There we go. Yeah.
They're in prints, so copper plates, and then I stitch on them just to bring more texture and mixed media. This is a painting of mine. It's 48 by 30. It's a nude mixed media from a life drawing. So the process is always pretty straightforward. You do real life figures and then you abstract them into something fun.
So the prints, are the prints available on your website, or do you?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, cool. So we can.
Well, you have to DM me. You'll have to message me and say if you're interested,
Okay,
and
so
then
still
we
commission
could definitely
based.
do a custom. Yeah,
Okay.
they're all so clients do purchase them. A lot of clients have purchased my art. They enjoy the fact that I'm also an artist. I think it gives them a lot more interest to the project. That's another big piece. There are two smaller prints at the bottom. If you can see them. Oh, how about this? Let's do that. These are bigger prints.
Oh,
Can
beautiful.
you see these?
Yeah, yeah.
That is also intaglio prints with a Chinese technique called translates into Chinese glue. This is another small piece.
Stitching is such a cool addition.
It is. It just makes me feel like I'm a craftsperson.
Yeah.
This is another mixed media painting. So I'm not sticking. A lot of people say, oh, what's your medium? I honestly think there's no one medium. Think about it. All the greats out there did multiple mediums. They must be most well known for one. But if you don't experiment, how are you going to learn?
Right. Right. They were all multi-hyphenates before we had that term.
Yes, absolutely. Look at Dolly. Dolly did jewelry, like all kinds of stuff. I made jewelry. Do I still make jewelry?
Yeah.
For fun. Every now and then somebody will ask me to they'll commission a piece. And for my art too, like I'll have people, you saw the prints, people say, oh, I really like that, but can we do reds in that? And so I'm like, sure.
Right. That's the interior designer in you going, oh yeah, sure, we can customize it, we can change it, we can.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I'm not changing my paintings really, but I'll do my paintings and we can change the colors for the rugs,
Yeah.
But the painting will stay as
what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Well, awesome. Vani, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate your time.
Likewise, Courtney. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Have a fabulous rest of your day.
Yes.
All right. Bye. I'll see you.
Bye.